Modern culture is built on the impulse to upgrade. When an object slows down or loses its immediate utility, we label it as junk. We're taught that if something is broken, it's worthless. This was the son's view of his father's watch. It was a mechanical piece from a different era, covered in scratches, with a strap that was falling apart. The son measured the watch by the standards of today. It was heavy, it was inaccurate, and required manual winding. In a world of digital precision, it had no practical value. He spent years trying to convince his father to get rid of it. He saw it as a sentimental attachment to a tool that no longer worked. But the father never listened. He simply said that one day the son would see what the watch actually cost. This created a wall between them. They were using two different systems of measurement, and because of that, they couldn't understand each other's choices. Years passed, and eventually, the father died. The son began the process of clearing out the house. He worked like a liquidator, looking at his father's possessions as a series of items to be sold, donated, or thrown away. In the immediate aftermath of a death, a lifetime of choices is reduced to a pile of objects. The human element is temporarily replaced by an inventory list. At the bottom of a box of old documents, the son found the watch again. Taped to the back of the casing was a small letter, written in his father's hand. The letter explained that the watch was never meant to tell the time for the father. It was meant to track the time he was spending. Every tick represented a second of his life that he was trading away. He wrote about the decades of overtime and the missed holidays, the hours he spent working so that the son would have the stability to value things differently. The father was operating on an economic model of love that the son hadn't recognized. He wasn't tracking utility, he was tracking a lifelong exchange. This time-currency paradox illustrates the conflict between needing presence versus providing security. On the top path, children measure love through proximity, seeing only gaps. On the bottom, parents treat time as currency, banking hours of absence into financial stability. A parent's absence is often the cost of a child's security. One cannot exist without the trade-off of the other. The son sat in the empty house and held the watch. For the first time, he didn't look at the scratches or the slow hands. The object hadn't changed, but its value had. It was no longer a piece of obsolete technology. It was a physical record of his father's life. The value of an object is inseparable from its history. Without the context of why it was preserved, the most significant artifacts look like trash. This isn't just about one watch. It's about the quiet trades made by previous generations that go unnoticed. These sacrifices are rarely explained. The people making them often accept being misunderstood as part of the work they have to do. Most families have these artifacts, items that seem worthless but represent a structural sacrifice that allowed the next generation to thrive. Identifying these trade-offs is how the next generation recognizes the investment. It is the moment the work is finally seen for what it was.